Alan Quinlan is in next, chatting rugby, but before that, here's Conor Murray chatting to Maura Chassa.
Things, just to put it kindly, didn't go to plan. So how are you able to recalibrate, to kind of put the dirty diesel out of the system, so to speak, and start motoring again?
I think we're a really honest group, and we learn from our mistakes pretty quickly. And I suppose if you look over the last couple of seasons, this group has been really successful, and we'll realise what didn't work in the previous Six Nations, but I think we've ironed those creases out already. We, after each game that didn't go to plan, we kind of recognised that, we reviewed it and sorted it out, and this group has an awful lot more positive performances to draw on than the few bad ones in the Six Nations just gone. So overall it's been really positive, and there's a fresh feeling amongst the group coming back here and getting down to work, and I think everyone from players, coaching staff, outside staff is aware of what this group is capable of, and I don't think we're going to be kind of painted or reviewed based on that Six Nations solely. I think this group has been through an awful lot together, has Six Nations titles and massive wins against Southern Hemisphere opposition.
Conor Murray there, chatting to Maura Chassa at the launch of the new Canterbury Irish kits. We've got Alan Quinlan in studio. How are you, Alan?
Very good, thanks.
We're going to take a pit stop today. We're going to talk plenty about Ireland over the next couple of weeks and months, but we're just going to do a quick little check-in on a couple of the provinces just for 10 minutes or so this morning, because it's pre-season for everybody, not just the international players. There's videos from Munster, as we can see there, this week. New coaching team coming in. Is this the part of the summer where they're trying to get to know everybody, trying to implement plans, or is there almost a brand new pre-season when everybody comes back from the World Cup?
I think there probably will be. You try to implement systems and game plans and there's some sort of a structure there to keep some sort of continuity. You can't expect players to come back from the World Cup and take over. They'll be hoping, if hypothetically, if Ireland went far in the tournament, it's you're getting into the start of November, and Europe is 2 weeks later. So it depends where they finish for any of the provinces, where their players get back. And
how are they fixed players-wise this off-season? Is there bits of business that you kind of would have liked to see a bit more done? Because obviously the coaching ticket was the big thing to sort out.
Yeah, I think that was a priority. I'd love to, if the recruitment, like I said, this Handré Pollard, that was kind of openly discussed, that he nearly signed. Montpellier came in and paid more money for him. He would have been a 10-12 scenario, probably more of a 12. It would have been a phenomenal signing for him if they'd got him, the South African out half. He's going to Montpellier after the World Cup, and
where would he have fit in with Munster?
It's interesting that it was being sanctioned and it was being allowed by the IRFU, and I think Johan van Graan pushed for it, and Pollard was very keen to come to Munster. When you think of Joey Carberry signing last year, he plays 10, more 10 than 12, but he does play 12 as well. And it would have been a top-class signing that probably became available, and I think they got the go-ahead to get him.
So who does that benefit now in midfield? Who's going to be the big option?
It mightn't have been good news for Rory Scannell, who's Irish qualified and who's been very consistent for Munster in the last number of years. Chris Farrell came in the year before. When you name the Munster players in the back line, they're actually very good players and they have a lot of quality, and that's why the coach, and maybe the questions came up and the changes happened and the uncertainty happened, and like I said, it was probably unfair on Felix Jones to take all that criticism, because I think he had a lot to do there. But Johan van Graan, I think we said it last year, they had a better side last year than they had the year before, and they probably flattered to deceive a little bit and were disappointing this year, and it was particularly the end of the season. So you're not going to get an open checkbook to go out and sign everyone, the players, to get top quality internationals. So I think they'll probably have to make do with what they have this year, maybe get one or two loan players, and just get better as a group. So going back to what you said, your first question about the pre-season is vital, even if you don't have your top players there, because you do kind of go through your calling systems, and if you want to change a little bit. And I think Munster, not just my opinion, but I think everybody thinks they need to have a little bit more in the locker from an expansive point of view, and to attack teams.
Is there a sense that Jones and Flannery are going to go looking for a job immediately now, that we might see them pop up somewhere soon?
Yeah, I think they were very highly thought of by the players, and I think We don't know the exact details of what happened, whether it was down to financial or length of contract or whatever, but I think it'd be a shame if both those guys don't get back and get working with someone again, and the thing might turn again where they come back and get involved. So I'm not really sure. I think it'd be a pity to invest yourself for 3 or 4 years in coaching and then be out of it. So hopefully they'll come back involved and be involved in coaching again.
We want to talk Connacht because it's been an interesting off-season for them in terms of the players in and the players out, but also World Cup years tend to be fairly interesting for Connacht as well. Last time there was a World Cup, they managed to put the foundations down for a Pro 12 winning season. Yeah,
and I think there should be a lot of optimism there. I think for what Andy Friend did last year was brilliant to get him qualified for Europe again, given the year they had before under Kieran Keane and probably the negativity that was coming out of there. Andy Friend was just a breath of fresh air. I think the players, similar to the Klopp scenario in Liverpool, the way you have that kind of, it happens when you're winning and you have a bit of success and you get a run of games where you can smile and
togetherness and all that.
Yeah, and I think he tried to, I think maybe Kieran Keane's downfall was that he just came in and wanted results and didn't really kind of get close to the players and stuff like that, whereas I think the brief that Andy Friend would have got would be try and unite the group after a tough season, and that's what he did, and they showed a lot of quality last year. They showed some of that excitement that they had the year they won the Pro 14. Their attacking game was really good, and they seemed to play with a smile on their face and had a fantastic year. And to get European rugby back to the sports ground is huge. The redevelopment will happen there. So things are on the up for them. They've signed John Porsche, an Australian Sevens player. He's a winger, incredibly fast. He worked under Andy Friend in the Australian Sevens program when he was there. And they've promoted guys from the academy. Paul Boyle, who had a brilliant season last year, is promoted from the academy. They're bringing in Paddy McAllister. But a lot of guys coming up from the academy. Stephen Fitzgerald went up there from Munster. He's now signed a full-time contract there. Angus Lyde, who was with Ulster, spent a short time with Munster, the scrum half, and now he's signed there as well. So, and they're promoting guys from the academy. I think they probably have gone outside the province for the last number of years to stay competitive and have that squad depth. And I think this year Andy Friend there's probably more pressure on him now because it could only get better last year. Now there's pressure on to try and perform.
That's the thing as well. If you take over a regime that was
really poor,
probably a good one to take over, and you get that lift.
Yeah. So
your second album is a bit difficult.
It's trying to have that consistency. But what they're trying to do in the grassroots and the underage players they're bringing through in their from their underage sides has been very impressive. So it'll be an interesting season for Connacht. I think they have a tough pool in Europe, but teams don't like going to the sports ground on wet, windy December nights or January nights and or days, I think. So it's brilliant for them. And being in Europe is really important for anyone. I've said this in my own playing career, when you can have that excitement of going from the Pro 14 and having to look forward to Europe, they're big weekends.
It's interesting that they signed a guy from Australia Sevens. Is this something that potentially more teams could be looking into as to what's going well in different forms of the game, because they have the basic skills? If we can take them under our wing and actually turn them into a top-class rugby player, it's not the most ridiculous idea in the world.
Yeah, well, we've seen it with rugby league players coming across, haven't we? Obviously, when you're playing Sevens, it's a different game, and the Irish Sevens have done fantastically well this year.
They've all come from like academy backgrounds.
They have, yeah, and the clubs as well, and guys who probably were trying to get involved in the 15s at a professional level, and
some of them have even made it as far as Love Island as well this year.
yeah.
Pinnacle, really.
I don't watch any of that, so I'm not.
He asked me actually before, in the middle of the show, or just before we came on, do you watch Love Island?
I know.
He went in last night. We were going to talk about it. I had nobody to talk to about.
I played with his dad, would you believe, in Shannon.
Did you?
Niall O'Shea and Billy O'Shea, his uncle. I played in the Shannon team in 95, 96, 97 with them.
Is he a good rugby player?
He's unbelievably quick.
Right.
Unbelievably quick, yeah. He's in good shape.
He's
there,
in good
well,
nick,
in
isn't he?
fairness. I mean, you can't take that away from him. But
So are you giving him a chance in Love Island? I'm not sure what
I don't watch-
Speed
know
can
the
do.
parameters.
I don't know
on
what
the-
happens there or what goes on there.
As far as I'm aware, Speed isn't much of use to in Love. Well,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
I just couldn't watch it. But
More stamina, really, isn't it?
stamina.
Yeah,
Again, I don't watch it. I'm only speculating.
But going back to the rugby,
Sorry.
the sevens, I think we probably will see a little bit more of that. We're sevens players, and some of these Irish guys might get called up if get kind of headhunted. It does happen in Australia a lot, where and maybe a little bit in New Zealand, where some of the sevens players there go and they sign a Super Rugby contract or play provincial rugby there.
Last question on Connacht. Do you think Jack Carty will be there starting out after the start of the season? That's obviously basically an Ireland question.
Yeah, well, basically you're saying will he be in the World Cup squad? I don't know. It depends if Joe brings 2 fly halves or 3 fly halves.
If he brings 3,
If he brings 3, it's a head-to-head between himself and Ross Byrne. So I haven't seen enough of both of them at the higher level. They both played very, very well. And to be fair to Carty, he showed a composure and a brilliance last year consistently. But Ross Byrne delivers for Leinster every time he plays as well, you know. So it just depends what happens in this pre-season with him and if they get involved in the warm-up games. And maybe there will be a bit of a head-to-head scenario. I think the coach will have to do that at some stage with certain positions. So I don't know. I don't know if he'll be this Connacht starting fly half for the start of the season. But if I was a Connacht fan, I'd be excited because there's a lot of good young players there as well, and they can build on last year.
Yeah, it should be a good season. We will get into Leinster and Ulster next time with Alan Quinlan. Alan, thanks for popping in this morning. It is 9:03 on this Thursday morning. You're watching OTB AM.